I'm not the biggest fan of herbicides, not even because of the toxicity thing, which is absolutely something to worry about. It's because all of the ones that I've measured so far, so it doesn't mean that they all do it, because if they didn't do it, I wouldn't notice when I'm measuring soil biology. But a very wide spectrum of them do suppress soil biology for a while. So soil biology, bacteria and fungi, their populations reduce and their activity reduces. And most good things in the soil come from the activity of microbes. So if you have fewer of them and those ones are doing less work, then you're missing out on huge opportunities and potentially losing carbon in the process. So first step I normally talk about there is, do you actually need to spray right now? So if you take into account the missed opportunity for a productive soil from spraying, is the impact of that, or the reduced carbon building opportunity, is the impact of that more expensive than the potential impact of the weed that you're controlling? So if the answer is yes, then go ahead and spray. If the answer is definitely no, then definitely don't spray. If the answer is in the middle somewhere, probably take a risk and don't do it, and see what happens. You can always spray a bit later. So those are the things to think about first. And it's not that it's an invalid tool, it's that it has downsides that aren't usually talked about, that aren't just about a greeny backlash to that sort of using that sort of tool, like the actual farm profitability issues. But once you take that into account, you can also reduce the impact by increasing the efficiency, similar to what happens with fertilizers. I didn't really talk about the downsides of fertilizers yet, but it's about the total amount that goes on. The higher the amount, the higher the impact to the soil biology. So if you can increase the effectiveness of any herbicide that you're putting on, then you need less of it to get the same result, which means that you have less impact to the soil. And so we have noticed, it's in the scientific literature, and we've sort of seen it in practice, that if you mix carbon boosts with a herbicide as you're applying it, and you can do that because usually you're only putting on a tiny amount, under a litre, of active ingredient per hectare, and then you're filling the rest of the spray tank up with water. So you can use carbon boost as the water content, so you don't have to spray more total material on. And then this isn't exclusive to carbon boost, it's also present in humic acids, but there's some compounds in there that when they land on the plant leaf, they cause the stomata, the holes in the leaves that let air out and can let water in, to open during the day, which means that instead of having a small hole where the rainfall or the water in the mix carries the herbicide into the plants, you have a much larger one, which means that it's much easier for a higher proportion of what's there to go into the plant leaf. And I don't know how to do that with hand gesture, or maybe it's like this, to go, just doesn't look right, to go into the plant leaf. So if there's a larger doorway into the leaf, then you can get a higher proportion of what you spray into the leaf of the weed to do the job that it needs to do. And so that means you need less in total to get the critical toxicity level inside the plant. So first thing is, do I need to spray? Do I really need to spray? And if the answer is yes, then you can reduce the impact of spraying herbicides by reducing the total amount that goes on, and you can use carbon boosts to, and fair, other humic acid products to other products containing humic acid. Carbon Boost isn't a humic acid product, just contains it, to get a higher proportion of the active ingredient that you spray into the plants rather than into the soil, where it can cause negative issues.